Like I remember getting a call back for the movie they made about boxing, the fucking the black dudes.
Creed?
No, wait. This was right before the first strike hit L.A.
Oh shit!
That the first when reality TV was about to take over. Who went to jail? Blade.
Oh, Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes did a movie where he was a boxer in prison.
Oh yeah.
Okay, where he was a boxer in prison, and I remember I got a call to be one of the gangsters. And Jesus Christ, Eric, they put me through hell. It was in those days, there was a thing called a pre-read in this town. A fucking pre-read. High-level casting people would just make them come in and talk to you. Hi, Eric, what's your name? What do you like to do? Oh, I like stand-up. How long have you been a stand-up for? Do me a favor and read this for me. And then they would call your agent and make sure you could read for the role. I started there with this fucking guy.
Damn.
His name was Ruben something. He was black. His offices were on La Brea and Wilshire. That tall building there on the right-hand side, they were all in there in those days. Ruben, the chick that cast the volleyball movie, they were all in there. If you went in there and dropped off 10 headshots, you'd get a call in 3 days because they were all in there. I would go in there every 90 days and just drop off headshots. All 10 floors had a different casting director. So I went in there, he pre-read me. When I went to that first fucking read, it was in Hollywood then. Then they made it like a nice office with white people where they offer you water and shit. You go to those auditions where they offer you
You're
water.
like that now.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to offer people water. But usually you go to an audition, they don't offer you shit.
Yeah.
That audition, the first time I went to read, they offered me fucking water. I almost shit my pants. They validated my parking. You know, I was like, oh shit, this is real. And you walk in the room and there's 4 fucking guys and they've all been in big movies. The one guy was the guy that fucking, he was in, I'll never forget that read. That was the scary, because I just saw 7 the night before. It was on cable. And I went in the next day and he's sitting there reading for the same part I'm reading for. But then something would happen. And you want me to tell you what started happening, Eric?
What's that? Because I bet you I feel the same way.
2 things happened. I had to do halftime of a Buffalo Sabres game one time.
Oh, shit.
And I got booed so bad. I got booed so bad, Eric. I got booed so fucking bad. For 15 minutes, it was just horrible. Like, nothing could bring you back from that. And then I got made a regular at the store, and for years I had to follow Paul Mooney. So actually, this is what would happen to me. I would go to those auditions, walk in very insecure, my little mafia suit on, walk in, sign in, you know, sit down. I'd look at the sheet like I don't know what I'm doing, and then I'd pop my head up and look around the room, and I'd see Frank Stallone, I'd see Johnny Roast Beef, I'd see the guy that got freezed in The Sopranos. I'd see all those guys in auditions. And after a minute, I would go, you know what? Yeah, this guy probably went to Juilliard, and this guy studied with Johnny Bananas, and this guy studied with Johnny Gumbats. But guess who the fuck I am? Number 1, I did halftime of the Buffalo Sabres game. And number 2, I follow Paul Mooney on a nightly. And I know for a fact, none of these motherfuckers in the room could do that.
Yeah, man.
And that's when I started booking. Where's that Tony Bennett you were talking about? I want to give some shout-outs real quick to Young Runt, my brother Pat Shea, who showed up in Tempe with some hot chick that kept trying to make videos, knock it the fuck off. I want to give a shout-out to Lieutenant Scott Smith, Tempe's best, for coming to the show. I want to give a shout-out to Pistol Pete for giving us the cover of this in a single. Also, Nick Becker, Adrian Valdez, the Latin Bastard, Ken Riffey Jr., and Aaron Andrew Ramirez. Thank you, motherfuckers, for coming out to the shows and having a great time and all that shit. And that's it. So, did you take an acting class?
Yeah, I did. I took a class with this lady named Janet Alhanti. And she was great, like this Meisner, like this old New York Jewish lady, you know, she was a big woman, you know, so she would sit in her chair, you know, and she would sit back in her chair and she'd be like, yeah, trying to be funny. Stop trying to be funny, you know. She's very Mitzi-esque, actually, in terms of her, like, how she attacked comedians, you know, with the acting. And I love to intellectualize things. So, like, to me, the best part of acting class was not actually doing it, sometimes was watching
it.
other people.
Yes.
And then hearing the notes and then really examining, like I was like, damn, they really this is something's going on here.
Yes.
You know, and that was great. Like my first real acting class, I see a lot of those people working today. Like the girl Jamie Alexander, she's on that show Blind Spot. She was in that class. I remember, you know, when I saw her at the Laugh Factory one night, and she was like, she started crying. She was like, I remember our class together. And I was like, wow, like, you know, we've come a long way. Like, you know, people come a long way. So I think acting class is important. It wasn't until I started doing acting class and improv that I felt my stand-up popped. My stand-up really, like, because I understood that this is a performance.
Where were you doing improv at?
I did a bunch of places. You know, I took a class. I took this kind of like UCLA extension, like comedy acting and improv. And then I did like what's the one in not UCB, but the one on Wilshire, Melrose. There we all Groundlings.
Okay.
I did the first thing of Groundlings, but I didn't continue because I always felt like improv is a skill to make acting and stand up better, not something that should stand on its own. To me, it's you know what I mean. Like, I think improv is like, when the improv shows, I'm always like, ugh, I don't want, you know. But the people that can do that, like, at a high level, that's always very entertaining. But I think that is great for, like, when you do it within, like, oh, here's a movie situation, stand-up, a TV, or a play, or whatever that, you know, you're using that skill to enhance another part of entertainment. But anyway, that's just my
I went
opinion.
through a chapter of my career. There was like a 2-year stint. When I went to New York, I picked up a bad habit of talking to the audience. I picked up a very bad habit. It's a lazy habit, you know, of talking. And I got good at it. I got good at
but you know what?
what's happening.
It's not hard to be good at that when you're a charismatic comedian.
I got really good at it, and it was always 50-50.
Yeah.
It's always a 50-50 show. It's always like, so I would have 22 minutes of material, and I would bank on 30 more of improv. And I would start in the middle or close at the end. For a year, I went through that phase where I forced myself, because when I was a house MC at the Boulder Broker, it was the same mooches every week that came in to eat.
So after a while, they're like, we know your material.
Yeah, it was steak night. It was $15.95 for a steak, and you got a comedy show with the steak. So it was the same fucking 40 people who came in for steak night, and then they would stay to watch the comics, and I was the headliner. So I would just do topical jokes in those days. I would just go through the paper. It's really weird when I look at my journey, and then I started talking to the audience. And that ended in Seattle. When I moved to Seattle, somebody goes,
You
dog.
lived everywhere.
Yeah, somebody goes,
Jesus.
dog, you got to stop fucking talking to people because you're good at it, don't get me wrong, and the improvising is good, but once you move to L.A., it's not going to be bueno for you. And then I stopped. At the store, I never fucking really talked to people. Never, ever.
Especially because, like, we're not watching the whole show.
And now I don't even consider fucking doing it. Like, now that people paying to come see me, I wouldn't even take a chance in fucking improvising. I'll throw a tag in if it's appropriate. Like, sometimes you write on stage and stuff like that.
We're going in like fucking Marines. You understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.